America offering trade deals or threats? China says the U.S. is abusing tariffs and pressuring other countries to pick sides. As the U.S.-China trade war gets worse, nations in Southeast Asia are stuck in the middle. They face big risks as both economic giants try to pull them in different directions. China draws a line. On April 21st, China strongly warned the U.S. not to use other countries to pressure Beijing. Its Commerce Ministry said China will protect its rights and push back against any country that makes a deal that harms China's trade position. New trouble after tariff. Pause. Trump recently paused tariffs on some countries, but not on China. Instead, he raised tariffs on Chinese goods to 145%. In response, China hit back with 125% tariffs on U.S. products. These high taxes have turned a trade argument into a full economic battle. U.S. trade deals with conditions? China believes the U.S. is forcing countries to choose sides. A recent Bloomberg report said the U.S. may only lower tariffs for countries that agree to reduce their trade with China. China calls this unfair and says it's abusing tariffs to gain control. China plans UN move. China is organizing a special United Nations Security Council meeting to accuse the U.S. of global bullying. It will argue that American trade tactics are hurting peace and progress by creating fear and division among countries. Who will follow the U.S.? Some nations are talking with the U.S. about new deals. Japan may buy more soybeans and rice from the U.S. Indonesia may shift its imports. But experts say many countries rely too much on China to fully support America's trade demands. Southeast Asia in a tough spot. Countries in the ASEAN region trade heavily with both China and the U.S. Now they're being hit with U.S. tariffs between 32% and 49%. This is dangerous for their economies, which are already feeling pressure from earlier trade changes. Xi Jinping's response: build bridges, not walls. Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Southeast Asia last week. He asked countries to reject unilateral bullying and grow closer ties with China. Xi's message is that China wants peace and open trade, not threats and division. Markets stay nervous. Chinese stocks rose a little after the government's comments, but investors are still cautious. Businesses are worried that the trade war might trigger a global recession with slower growth and more financial stress. Technology takes a hit. The trade war is not just about goods, it's about tech too. The U.S. is blocking China from buying advanced semiconductor chips. Big companies like NVIDIA expect billions in losses. Shipbuilding is also affected, as the U.S. adds fees to Chinese-made ships. More talks, but no easy answers. Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia are in the U.S. this week for trade talks. These countries want to protect their economies without picking sides. But with both the U.S. and China applying pressure, the choices are harder than ever. No winners in a trade war. President Xi says nobody wins in a trade war. Experts agree. When the two largest economies fight, smaller nations suffer most. Jobs are lost, prices go up, and future growth becomes uncertain. Looking ahead, a new global trade map? The U.S.-China trade fight is reshaping the world. Countries are being pushed to choose, adapt, or risk getting left behind. What happens next could change global trade for years to come. Everyone is watching and hoping for a peaceful path forward.